Hello beautiful, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bettina and I'm the makeup enthusiast. In today's video, I am bringing you my plan to pan for 2024. These are all the products that I am hoping to either hit pan on or finish at some point in 2024. So if that interests you at all, then stay tuned. But before we get into the video, if you are new around here, make sure you're subscribed down below so you can keep up to date on all my Project Pan videos and finales that I'm doing throughout December, intros in January, and throughout 2024. And without further ado, let's jump on into the video. So I did one of these videos last year and it just helped me highlight going into like this year what products I really wanted to try and focus on and get some progress or finish up. So I thought that I would do another one again this year, just in an attempt to try and highlight to myself some products that I've identified that are getting old or taking up too much space in my collection, or areas of my collection that are getting out of control or continue to be out of control. I have my little list here. It is like 2 pages, almost 3 pages of stuff. It is very lip heavy again, so we'll see how far we get through it again next year. Wish me luck. But starting off at the top of the list, I would like to again hit 24 eyeshadow pans in 2024. So I'd like to do that. Rounds up to at least 2 a month. If I can get more than that, I will be so ecstatic. But I would definitely like to at least hit 24 as like a baseline. So just hitting pan on 24 shadows in my collection. Moving on, we have a few lip products that I've identified. And the list of lip products that I've identified continues to grow. So starting off with the first few, I really want to use up my NARS Afterglow Lip Balm in Fast Lane. I have been using this a little bit this year, so I have already used a tiny little bit of it. This is how much I have left. So I do have this one, and I think 1 or 2 minis in this formula. They are starting to get on, I think, this coming Christmas will be the 2-year mark of these. So I would like to get these out of my collection before the 2-year mark if I can, or at least have the full size out of my collection before the 2-year mark. So that's the first lip product that I'm very hopeful. I do have a lot of lip balm type products. The next one is my Too Faced Spice Spice Baby lipstick. Now I popped this one on the list, and then I decided that I wanted to get a head start on this one in my Team Project Pan. So I have already used a little bit of it, but I have about this much left. So I would definitely like to have this one finished at some point next year. I have panned one of these Too Faced lipsticks in the past, and I did find it a lot easier than a lot of other bullet lipsticks that I've tried to pan in the past. So I thought that I would give myself a little bit of a easier, more give me product to pan as opposed to harder bullet lipsticks. So there's that one. And I also grabbed out the L'Oreal lipstick, the Color Riche lipstick in 630. This is just a lipstick that I really quite like the color of. It's like a really easy everyday color that I can wear. I have never panned a L'Oreal lipstick before in the past, so I'm not quite sure how long this will take me to get through, but I am up for the challenge, and I think this is a color that I can grab for very regularly. I could rotate it into one of my project pans as like an everyday lipstick. I could wear it to work a lot and so forth. Moving away from a lipstick, back to like balm type products, I grabbed out the Lana Lips Tinted Balm. This is in Rhubarb. I just thought this one has, again, also been in my collection for a little while now, so I thought that I would grab it out and try and use it up. I've had fairly good progress on lip balms this year. This one I think is even smaller than the ones that I've used up this year as well. So I'm hopeful that I can make good progress on that one. And then another balm type product that I grabbed out is the Mecca Cosmetica lip balm in Natural. This is a bullet type lip balm, and I have panned as well one of these in the past, and I really enjoyed it, and I found it again fairly easy to get through. So I think given it's a balm, given it's clear, I can use it very regularly. It might even be one that I chuck in my handbag and leave at work while I'm trying to pan it. Also, in terms of lip products, I have two other kind of wild card products. The first one is a lip gloss, and I want to use up another one of my Fenty glosses. So I've popped the Fenty Gloss Bomb in Confetti on the list. This one is sitting about halfway done already, so I thought that it would be a little bit of a give me as well. The one that I panned this year, it dragged on for ages. So I'm very hopeful as well, given this is a clear, I can wear it a lot easier and more regularly and hopefully get through it really quickly. And then the last lip product that I have just recently identified is this lip oil. Lip oils have been a recent discovery for me, I think. I panned my Kosas lip oil earlier in the year, and I recently, just in the past month, grabbed out one of these Burmese Dream lip oils that I got gifted ages ago. And I thought that I'd just give it a try and see if I liked the formula, because I think I got gifted 3 or 4 of these. I grabbed out the red one, which I've lost the label on the bottom, but I think it was strawberry or raspberry. I've been loving this. So I've only been using this for maybe about a month now, and I've made this much progress, and it's visible progress, which I love to see when I'm panning like a lip product. So I thought that I would roll one of these in and give it a try, see how long it can take me to get through them, and maybe rotate in another one in replacement. But I've been very much enjoying this product lately. It's just really easy to throw on, and it's like really nourishing and moisturizing on the lips. The color isn't like offensive either. Like, it does leave a slight tinge, but it's not overly offensive or noticeable. Moving on, we have some powder products. Now, I was racking my brain and I was searching through my drawers high and low to decide what bronzer I would like to focus on in the coming year. I was thinking at one stage that I would just roll over my Too Faced Milk Chocolate Soleil bronzer, but I really am a little bit over that product at the moment. So I've decided I'm going to put that back in my collection, and I want to focus on my Charlotte Tilbury Film Star Bronze and Glow. I've had this one for quite a while and I've made hardly any progress on this one. So I would like to focus on both the sculpt and the highlight. And I think if I could hit pan, that would definitely be fantastic. But initially my starting goal is just going to be like to wear away the prints on the pan. Highlighter traditionally, like, it's harder to wear away the entire pan. So I think if I could just wear away some of the highlighter, that would be great. Bronzer, I would like to wear away all of the like imprints. There's lots of lines and there's a word sculpt in there. If I could wear that away, that would be fantastic. The goal after that would definitely be to hit pan, because again, this one's quite old and I've made hardly any progress on it, which is very disappointing given that Charlotte Tilbury is more expensive. And I do believe that was a gift from hubby at one point and I've barely used it. So I want to give it some love. Moving on, we have a couple of categories that I haven't decided what exactly I want to pan in that category just yet, but I know I want to pan like a number in that category. The first up is eyeliners. Now, this jar right here contains my eyeliners and lip liners. Most of this is eyeliners. I could probably pick out like by hand which ones are the lip liners. Actually, let's just do that. I think that's it. Yes. So these all are eyeliners and a lot of them are colored eyeliners. So I'm just slowly over the years like working my way through them. I would like to get rid of at least 2 of the eyeliners in here this year. I haven't decided what color just yet. Probably looking at maybe a black and a color. That's usually the easiest way for me to go because I do tend to use black a lot more regularly than a color. And then in terms of colors, probably something that I can like hide or wear to work will be easier to get through. The bright colors are probably going to take me forever to get through, but I would like to eventually work my way through this cup. In terms of lip liners, these are the lip liners that I currently have. So I have 3 from Charlotte Tilbury, 1 from Hindash, one from Wayne Goss, and one from Bodyography and one from NYX. These all are nudes, and then these two are reds. I would like to use up at least 2 of these in the coming year. I would really like one of them to be a red. So these ones are really starting to get fairly short. I would really like to use up at least one of these reds, and then obviously one of these need to go at some point. Both of my Charlotte Tilbury, the medium and the intense are minis. They don't really often take very long to get through. The Pillow Talk original is like my lips but better, super easy to get through. The Hindash one, I would at least like to have it to the point where I can put it in this cup. At the moment, it's too tall to stand up in my drawer. So that's also another little goal that I want this year, or going into 2024. I want to have this down by at least 2, because I probably will buy more lip liners throughout 2024, because I don't know what it is at the moment. I really enjoy trying new lip liners, so I probably will purchase more in the future. I would also like to have another 2 of my Stila Magnificent Metal glittering glows or shimmering glows out of my collection. Those I find really difficult to work on, but I would really like to have another 2 out of my collection. Whether they be minis or larges, I don't mind whether they're from the mini category or the full size category, just as long as it's 2. I think I should really, in 2024, try and get a full size out of my collection, because up until now I've only really been focusing on the minis. I should make an effort for one of them to at least be a full size, but we shall see how we go. Next up, samples. You guys know for the last year and this year, my goal for using up samples was at least 100. I have now for the last 2 years used up 100 samples from my collection, and it seems to me that it's just impossible to get a hold on the sample collection. So I am going to roll that goal over again for next year. I don't think I currently have 100 samples in my collection, but they very quickly accumulate if you don't focus on using them up. So I'm going to roll that goal over again, just in an effort to try and keep my mind attuned to using them up and help me get a control of the collection. Next we have an eyeshadow goal, bit of a lofty goal, but I've been kind of thinking about doing this for a little while now, and I want to hit pan on the rest of my Modern Renaissance palette. So I do have pan on 2, 4, 6, 8. I've got pan on 8 shadows in here. I would like to hit pan on the rest of the palette. So you can see the shadows that I don't have pan. Some of them do have a decent dip going on. Some of them look like they're barely being touched, but definitely a goal for this year is I want to hit pan on the last 2, 4, 6 shades in here that I don't have pan. So I think at some stage I might possibly rotate this into my project level up, and that way it will also allow me to get some more usage on the pans that I already have in here, and hopefully expand the pans a little bit. I don't know whether I want to try and finish this up at all. I probably should declutter this at the end of 2024, I think. I'm going to try and hit the pans. I'm going to evaluate the situation with the pans. Like, I know these have a tendency to rust. So I'm going to evaluate the situation once I hit pan in everything. If it's looking dangerous, I will declutter this. Another palette that I would like to focus on is my ABH contour kit. I was really hopeful that I would have another pan in this palette this year. I did Franken all 4 of these bronzes earlier this year. I was hopeful that I would have hit pan on at least one of them by now, but I definitely have really neglected this palette, and wanting to focus on other face palettes in my collection definitely made that a reality. So I really neglected this year. I'm hopeful I can hit pan on at least one of these next year. I also want to hit pan on another blush in this Tarte color wheel. I was using this, I think it was last year, for a period of time in my Pan That palette, and I managed to hit pan on quite a few blushes in this palette. I've got pan in 3 blushes down the bottom and 1 up the top here. I actually want to focus on the color Montage, which is this one here, and try and hit pan on that one at some point this year. I would really like to see this palette starting to be transitioned to like completely using it up and out of my collection. So I might also maybe focus on expanding the pans as well in the ones that I already have pan on at some point in 2024 as well. Do I want to try it? No, I think I've already given myself, I've overcommitted on the blushes for next year as well. So trying to use up one of those, I think will also be quite a big goal as well. I've also got my Hourglass Sculpted Edit palette as well. This is another one that I want to start transitioning into, like really focusing on it to get it used up. There are 3 pans left in this palette. I managed to hit pan and use up these 2 here this year, as well as this blush in the corner. Next year, I really want to focus on trying to use up the dim light, the diffused light powder, which is this one here. It's a bit of a face powder. I myself use it like as a highlighter. Sometimes I use it as like an under eye setting powder. I just don't love it as an all over face powder, especially when I have oily skin. I just don't love how it looks. And I also want to make some progress on the blush and the strobe light. So I'm going to work on this as a whole, but my main goal is to try and get diffused light used up in 2024. In terms of fragrances, I, for the most part, am very happy with where my fragrance collection is sitting, bar one product in particular, because I now have 3 of these, and it's the Sol de Janeiro Brazilian Crush body spray. I got a mini of this in my Makeup Beauty loop at some point this year, and I also purchased one of the Christmas sets this year, which came with one of these. This is from the Christmas set last year. Normally, I would have been working on this throughout the year with the knowledge that I normally buy one of the Christmas sets, but I've been really focusing on trying to get out of my collection like the Floral Botanica perfume this year, and I think I worked on another perfume this year. So I kind of forgot and neglected the Bum Bum spray, which has resulted in me now having 3. I normally find these quite easy to work through, so if I do manage to get this one done, I might then try and get the mini finished as well next year, but we shall see. I just don't want to be wearing the same perfume for the whole year, but we'll see how we go. The next couple of categories are ones, again, I haven't identified exactly what I want to use up in that category, but I know how many I want to use up. I want to try and use up 3 nail polishes this year or next year. I think I managed to get 2 done this year, so I was very close, but didn't quite make it. Next year, I want to try and use up 3. The reason why I don't think I got 3 done this year was because I was focusing on full-size nail polishes. If I try and focus on some of my minis, it's really easy to use up 3, but if I choose a full size to focus on for too long, like I lose the chance of reaching the goal. So we'll see how we go with that one. The next one, I really want to try and use up at least 1 liquid lipstick. That didn't go very well this year, but 1 liquid lipstick next year would be nice. It can be full size or mini, I don't care, as long as it's at least 1. I also want to use up at least 5 hair care items, and one of those I really would like to be a hairspray. I have 3 hairsprays in my collection and I hardly ever use hairspray, so I really want to get them like slowly working out of my collection. If I can use up at least 1, I would be very happy with myself. So 5 hair care products, a few more blushes. I've been very ambitious with blushes here, very ambitious. I'd like to use up the Milani Luminoso blush. I know that this can take forever to use up, so using up might be a little bit too ambitious. I don't know if you can see how domed that is. Using it up is probably very ambitious. I don't think even if I use this for the entire year next year, I would be able to use it up. So I really want to just work on flattening out that dome, put some good solid effort into flattening it down and working its way towards being finished at some point. The packaging on this is just so incredibly bulky. It takes up so much room in my drawer. So I have identified this. It's in my sights just purely because of the super bulky packaging. I also made a Franken blush recently, and I want to try and get this one finished as well. I really need to play around with this and try and figure out like how I like to use it. This is a combination of the Stila Kitten highlighter mixed with one of the blushes from the Tarte Off the Cuff palette. So I really want to use this up, because if I do, it means that I've used up like half of that blush and I've finished up the Stila Kitten highlighter in its entirety. Concealer that I really want to work on next year is one that I purchased this year. This is the Juvia's Place concealer. I'm not loving this concealer. It's a very big tube as well. So I've identified that I really want to get this finished. Going into like middle of next year, this will be a year old. I don't want my concealers or foundation products to be hanging around in my collection for too long. So I've really identified products that are getting on, or like they're the ones that have been in my collection the oldest. So I want to make sure that I am getting them done. A product that I want to finish up, and I haven't identified just yet which one. I want to finish up an entire eyeshadow. So I don't know whether that might potentially be one in my Modern Renaissance maybe. Maybe I could try and use up like Tempera or something like that as like an all over lid setting shade, something like that. But I want to use up at least one entire eyeshadow next year. And I don't really care whether it's like a really small pan or like a huge pan. Just as long as it's at least one entire eyeshadow, I'll be very happy with myself. Along with finishing up an eyeshadow, I would like to use up at least one of my cream products in my collection. It can be either from the blush, the bronzer, or the highlighter category. I would just like to have at least one of those out of my collection. I'm really trying to focus on not bringing too many cream products into my collection whilst my collection is so big. So if I could use up at least one from one of those categories, if I could get one from each, that would be fantastic. But I know they take ages to get through. So I'm just going to limit myself to one from any of those categories. A few left of field products as well. I want to use up my High Smile Color Corrective Serum. This is for your teeth. I have really not been using this product and I don't find it all that great, but I purchased this and I paid for this. So I want to focus on using it up and getting it out of my collection. I thought if I added it to this list, it would be a reminder and I would constantly be reminded to use it to work it out of my collection. So that's the first left of field product. I also want to use up my two Isle of Paradise tanning products. I have the Isle of Paradise Light Self-Tanning Drops, and I also have the Isle of Paradise Light Self-Tanning Water. These are starting to just get old. That's the main reason why I've grabbed these out to focus on them. I would say probably this year they'll be coming into maybe 1 or 2 years old. I really like these products. Like, it's not that I don't love them and want to get them out of my collection. I like them. I'm just worried about how old they're getting. And I haven't been using them because I've been getting laser for like this entire year. So it's been difficult to use these. And I also want to use up, there's not much left in this, but I always forget to use it, the Secrets Cuticle Oil. There's only that little bit down the bottom left of this one, and I always forget to use it. So again, I'm placing it on the list as a constant reminder to use it. Pull my finger out and use it. I also have the Pat McGrath Intensifies Artistry Wand. This I want to use up as an eyeshadow primer. I'm just worried that if I don't focus on this, it's going to get to the point where it goes bad. I've heard people say that these can tend to go bad quickly. So I want to make sure I'm getting my money's worth and getting it used up before it goes bad. My last couple of products I've grabbed out the two oldest foundations in my collection. So that's the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation and the MAC Face and Body. I got both of these, I think it was around January, February this year. So going into like January, February next year, these will be starting their like first birthday. So I want to make sure that I'm not keeping these too long in my collection to the point where the formula is starting to go bad. So once I finish up my Il Makiage foundation, these are going to be the next two that I'm focusing on. And that way, once these are done, everything will at that point be still within the year of purchase. And then I'll move on to the foundations that I picked up while I was in America. And last but not least is powders. Now I've got like these 3 powders, and I purchased another one while I was overseas. I think I've got 3 loose powders and 3 pressed powders. So I want to try and use up at least one of them. If I could use up 2 of them, that would be even better. If I could use up 3 of them, that would be fantastic. So I just want to really make sure I'm focusing on face powders and trying to get them out of my collection. The priority, I really want to get this Charlotte Tilbury Magic powder out of my collection, but I know it doesn't work as a full face powder for me. I'm going to have to test this out because this is the oldest powder in my collection now. And I know if I only continue to use this under my eyes, it's going to take an absolute eternity to get through. So I need to have a play with this one and try and figure out if I can use it all over my face. Maybe if I start using it with some of my like fuller coverage foundations, I could use it to add some luminosity. I'm not sure. I'm going to have a play with it because I really want to get that one done. And that's the end of my list. It's ambitious in some categories, I think particularly in the blushes and the lip product category, but overall I think that I can get most of this done. I will film an update on this video at the end of the year and we can check back in and see how I've gone on this list. I'm excited to see how much painting I can get done in 2024. This year I was pretty slack with my holiday. It really put a dampener and put project painting on the back burner for a lot of the year. So I'm excited to go into 2024 refreshed and re-energized in terms of project painting. And I'm really hopeful that I can meet a lot of these goals in 2024. Let me know down in the comments what your plan to pan products for 2024 are. Do you have any products that have been hanging around in your collection that you really want to get used up in 2024? Let me know down in the comments. I will leave some videos on the screen for you if you want to keep watching some of my content. Thanks for stopping by. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new around here, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye, beautiful.